Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal at Krondor. Well, we're almost ready to finish Chapter 1. You'll recall that we started over here in Yavin, we circled around here, we went through the Dimwood, cut through this whole bit here, circled all the way around the eastern part of the kingdom, and we are now currently just south of Zun, ready to head back down Quester's View, where we briefly went last time. And we will start taking the rest of the path we're meant to take from Yavin to Krondor. And my goal for this chapter is to try and get to Sarff. I'm not sure we're going to make it. I forget how many fights we have between this part of Quester's View and there. But we do at least have this part way clear. So let's just see. And go to the main view. And we do have the ocean right there on our left. Actually, let's go and... Doesn't seem to get much bigger. You can see those mountains in the distance, but we cannot get there, alas. Got a nice little sea path there that goes nowhere and does nothing. Although I think that might have gotten us past a fight. Then again, it might not have. Yeah, a little campsite, but nothing there. And is there anything hidden in the mountains here? I don't think there is, but... Well, I'll be darned. It looks like there is something hidden back there. Alright, a riddle chest. The light one breaks but never falls, his brother falls but never breaks. Well, easy enough. Day and night. Whoop. Ooh, a scroll. Flamecast. Well, we already have that one. But still a very nice find early on in the game, when you're meant to find it. Assuming you didn't find that one that was hidden in the alcove east of Zun earlier. And yep, ambush. I'll go ahead and camp here because we don't want to have the ambush trigger at night. Oh goodness me, did we stealth past that one? I think we just might have. And got a little house here. The man who greeted them at the door smelled of fish. "Folks call me Chanty," he said after Lachlan introduced himself. After a few more minutes of friendly conversation, he revealed that he was a fisherman, but he hadn't been out in his boat for several days due to his health. As he spoke, he threw dark looks at an unseen thing over Owen's shoulder. Lachlan was about to ask him another question when Chanty suddenly mumbled something angrily and slammed the door shut. No amount of coaxing could convince him to open it again. We actually got the digital sound effect for the door slam, which surprised me because none of the spoken word digital effects seem to have made it into this version of the game, which I downloaded off of Good Old Games. And if we come back and visit Chanty in later chapters, things will be slightly more hospitable. And I believe this is Quester's View. Alright, so we had nothing to show for taking that pathway except for the chat with Chanty. And wait, maybe that isn't it, because... I don't know, come here telling me about... Yeah, that was definitely not Quester's View. Because we're heading more east than south, and... right in the middle of the road. But we ambushed them. Honestly, it's hardly even challenging at this point. But I'm trying not to get too much hubris here, because I'm thinking that the big fight that's meant to be the centerpiece of Chapter 1, once we get to it this time, it's not going to be quite the epic that it is meant to be. But we will get to that soon enough, so I shan't spoil it further, except to say we've got what I recall being an epic, challenging fight coming up fairly soon. And yeah, we are loaded for bear. Let's see if this side road leads to something. Ah. Rugged and supply. You know, I do have to wonder how this little shop survives out here in the middle of nowhere, selling nothing but armor hammers and bowstrings. Oh well. Not for me to question the economics of this kingdom. You know, it's weird. I just realized that the horizon never gets any darker. It's just everything gets dark evenly. It's weird. And this is, in fact, finally the Path to Quester's View. And I can breeze through this because, see? The Quigian pirates that we fought earlier that were here are no longer here because we left this zone. So, as the road says, south to Krondor. A farmer was ahead of them, debating for a moment whether it would be more prudent to hide before they were seen or behave normally. Locklear decided the man was probably of no immediate threat to them. Yeah, Roe. That name seems familiar somehow, and if you don't know why that name seems familiar, that's because Isaac, our buddy Isaac, who turned traitor and was running messages for the Dark Elves, told us that the people coordinating the attacks on us were operating out of a barn in a town called Yellow Mule, and that they were probably working with or had killed a farmer named Roe. Although he described Roe as an old man, and Roe looks more like Riffraff's younger brother. Well, that gives me as good a cue as any for doing the voice on this. I hope for your good health, sirs, that you have found shelter against the coming tempest, good sirs. Yeah, sorry, I skipped that line a bit reading it. Tempest? Surely you've heard. The learned monks of Sarff have predicted a terrible storm is coming this way, and I would hate to think of anyone caught out in it. Why, a man could catch his death of the fevers. If you would like, you may ride it out in my barn. And what profit would you turn in this enterprise? 5 golden sovereigns, a reasonable sum, and the guard over my cows. You can sleep in the hayloft of my barn, but my wife and I don't take in elves. 7 gold pieces, the elf stays with us, and we each get a hard roll for breakfast. 10 gold, and a lot of you milk the cows the next morning. That's the offer, take it or leave it. Well, I can go ahead and afford to lose 10 gold on this. Deal. Where's this barn of yours? Keep heading south. You should pass the Abbey of Sarth. You'll know you're right close to it when you've passed up the Temple of Sung. From that, it's just around Yellow Mule Mountain. When you find the barn, just go knock on the door, and my wife will fix you up. Thank you, farmer. Your hospitality will be remembered. Yeah, that is quite a ways distance from here, Sarff. And another mountain path here, but I can see a treasure chest. Buckets, barrels, baskets, cans. What must you fill with empty hands? Well, this one's a bit of a literal riddle. But the answer is, what do you literally put your empty hands into? Gloves. They're handing out the magic stuff like crazy around here. And here is where you also can find a copy of Skin of the Dragon. But we are... well, that was easy enough. Trap. At least I thought that, because dead body lying out there usually means a trap. And yep, another ambush. Sneak. Sneak. Sneak, 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 sneak. And this, I believe, is the path to Sarff proper, but before we go there, we're just going to walk over to this farm post here. A garden was nearby. Wrinkling his nose at the smell of fresh fertilizer, Owen pointed out a small cloud of dust that rose off the roadside. Within the cloud was a mushroom-shaped man. Within the cloud, a mushroom-shaped man was hard at work, his hoe rising and dipping over a row of budding pink potato eyes. Flashing his irrepressible smile, Locklear crept up behind the monk. I half jumped from my robes! Hello there, strangers! I hope we aren't disturbing you. No, I was about to leave the garden anyway. Busy hands set the mind to work, you know. On your way to Sarff? Perhaps, brother Mark of Sarff. Glad to meet you. We don't get many illiterati here. Books don't seem to interest the commoners as much as gold or winching, but we have scholars enough, all going blind from reading worm-eaten books and a dozen boys scribbling away their youth in our vaults. It's an unusual place. Yes, I have a friend who visited here once. He told me that you worship the god of knowledge. Yeah, never reference to the books here. Sarff is a relatively minor port town in the Krondor books. It was originally the home of some robber baron who set himself up at a keep in the mountains that is up at the top of a very treacherous path. The monks of Ishap wound up reclaiming this place and turning it into the single largest library outside of the capital city and their main temple in Rillanon, but it may be bigger than that still. It is known as being the place where if you only had the chance to ask one question to get an answer, and ask that question once, where would you go? And it is where our heroes, including Squire James of Krondor, who is the friend Locklear refers to here, they traveled to Sarff in order to find an answer to the question of what is the poison Silverthorn, which was used in an attempt to assassinate Prince Arufa, wound up wounding his betrothed, Princess Anita, instead. And now you know the rest of the story. Yeah, my Paul Harvey is not that good, but anyway. They do say that, yes, and I suppose after a fashion it is true. If there is a question that can be answered in no other place, your best hope is to look in our vaults. I forgot that they quoted that bit here. So we'll go ahead and ask about bad weather. So when is the storm going to hit? We're a little concerned about finding a place to stay so we don't get soaked. Storm? It's the first I've heard of such a meteorological disturbance. Brother Giraman didn't mention it to me before I left the Abbey this morning. That's strange. I met a gentleman named Rowe who said a storm had been predicted by the brothers at the Abbey. I wonder why he'd tell you such a thing. Of course, he has been acting peculiarly since his wife died. Terrible tragedy, and striking at such a time when he had to give up his farm. I really must feel for the poor soul. So, he was lying about the storm, he was lying about his wife, and he was lying about still owning a farm. This should be setting off some alarms, even if we hadn't already confirmed with Isaac that this guy is not on the up and up. Are there any hazards on the road south to Krondor from here? On the road south from here to Krondor? We are in something of a hurry, and I would hate to run into any unexpected delays. Well, I haven't heard any complaints from the travelers that have been through here in the past few weeks. I don't think the mercenaries that stopped by to speak to Brother Dominic said anything of it. Mercenaries? They're not in Queegian press gangs, are they? Not to my knowledge, no. These lot landed just south of Quester's View on a ship called the Foam Spinner. As much as they've been up and down the road, I assume they were in on shore leave. Were there many of them? Many of them. If you laid them hand to foot, I imagine you could walk across the Straits of Darkness without getting your feet wet. It seems one of those Queegian galleys can carry a small village from one place to another. So, a lot of Queegian mercenaries on the road, which we also noticed. Casting. Do you know anything about spellcasting? I know a little of it, though Brother Dominic knows more about it than I. As soon as he finishes his studies on Queegian civil codes, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to sit down and talk to you about it. He'd surely be another 2 or 3 months at it, I would think. I'm afraid we don't have 2 or 3 months to wait. Why don't we leave the brother alone, nephew? Now, don't discourage the boy from asking questions, or he'll become afraid to question anything. I think I might have time to teach him something about focusing if you can spare a few sovereigns. Say 50. Is that acceptable to everyone? No, because I would rather have Owen refocus his training, so he is only working on casting. Oh, please tell me I did not just jinx an attempt to talk to him. Okay, we'll go up the road a bit, camp, and now we can go back and talk to him about everything. I see you didn't get the earful last time. What brings you back to the Brothers of Sarff? Well, try this again. 50 sovereigns, more than acceptable. An enthusiastic student. Delightful. This will be a pleasure to teach. Owen blanched. He had been assigned a simple enough task, cast a telekinetic spell to move his satchel closer to him. Instead, his satchel had remained obstinately stationary while hurling Brother Mark backwards into his well-turned crops. Are you all right? Owen gasped. I didn't mean for that to happen. You are still depending on your eyes, Brother Mark sighed, brushing a stalk of corn out of his face as he struggled to his feet. Concentrate. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you can't see what you're affecting, all the spells in the world will be utterly useless to you. Instead of trying to see your target, try to feel it. Now let's try this again. I know you'll learn this, eventually. We don't have any more time to waste, Gorath said. Why don't you pick up your things and we can get ready to move, Owen? Already on his feet, Brother Mark went to console his downcast pupil, patting him reassuringly on the shoulder. Remember, feel the target. That's the key. Until then, I suggest you stock up on a good supply of Luton's concentrate to get you through your exercises. Now, we'll go and finish up spells. Now that I know a little more about spellcasting, is this a simple spell you could teach me? Owen? Just something simple so we can defend ourselves in case you run into anyone hostile on the road. I don't know what you imagine is out there waiting for you, but I believe I have just the thing. I'll have to run up to our vaults to search for it. Well, it's a little spell called Flamecast. Of course, it will be a matter of a fee, say 30 sovereigns. I know precisely where it is if you want me to run and get it, shall I? Yes, an extra Flamecast spell, which is worth way more than 30 gold if we sell it. They waited. When at last it seemed the priest was never going to return, he appeared waddling down the hillside, a beribboned parchment massively stuffed beneath one of his arms. Collecting the money owed him by Gorath, he cheerfully handed over the scroll. And checked the vaults. Is it permitted for outsiders to browse the books in the vaults? I would be interested in looking them over. It's fine with me, but it's Brother Anthony you may have to convince. He doesn't like strangers wandering around down there without supervision. We have a number of rare and valuable books, and it would be the worst kind of tragedy to lose them to a casual browser. I'll warn you, though, you may have difficulty finding what you want. Many of the books have never been catalogued. Unless you know very specifically what you're looking for, either by the scribe's name or the title of the work, you might not find anything that will be of any value to you. And inns nearby. Do you know of any good inns in the area? I think I might sleep a little better if I could bed down on something other than cold ground tonight. There are a few. You might try Babin's Hostel in Quester's View, or the old Baywater Inn. If in order for my duties here, I'd be half inclined to join you. Some acolyte somewhere has been trying his hand at dream sendings, and I've not had a good night's sleep in weeks. Dream sendings, you say? It's a way to send messages over long distances. Only certain magicians have the talent for it. Whoever it is, they can't be too far away because the images are fairly strong. What do they seem to be trying to say? Well, I'm not certain. The images are too disjointed, though now that I think of it, I thought I'd seen your elf friend's face before. Now I know why. His face was in the sendings. We're getting close. And, yeah, we need to make room for something here. But the easiest way in this case Okay. So now Owen's casting his shot all the way up to 92%. Not bad for a 50 gold listen. So yeah, I shouldn't have any more fireballs going astray from now on. Let's go ahead and head into South proper. And yes, I do want to go in there. From a distance, the Abbey of Sarth had seemed a fortress, its sheer wall courtyard dominated by an ancient single-story keep. But closer inspection revealed that the shop profited where an ironmonger had once forged swords, delicate flowers bloom where soldiers had once mustered. And yeah, we can enter here, I think. Yep, here's the library, and then a temple at Sarff, which we cannot teleport to, unfortunately, and there's a shop. And trees whipped at their faces, mumbling about the inconvenience of castle engineers. Owen led the way down the fir-covered slope, arriving at last at the mouth of a large cave. "Told you I wasn't mad," he muttered. "Looks like a cave map. Want to have a look inside?" Not yet. Because we could go down here, but there's no reason to do so yet. And we'll go ahead and talk to the monks here. The abbot came quickly. A man of advancing years, his hair and beard seemed like a snowdrift, starkly in contrast to his dark skin, which was wrinkled like carefully crafted mahogany. Shaking Lochler's hand, he greeted them as if he'd known them all their lives. "Welcome to Ishap's Abbey, travelers. I am Father John. Have you been sleeping?" Sorry. "How we may be of assistance to you?" "Well, we thought while we were passing through that we would come and visit the famous Abbey of Sarth," Lochler said. "You've done impressive things here." The abbot's eyes crinkled as he gave them a prideful glance. "We hope to do more. We've only begun our work here, but thanks to Brother Anthony and Brother Mark, we have come a long way." Sorry, I had to cough there. You probably heard a slight click as I turned the mic off. Lochler bit his lip, hesitant to ask his question. "Could we impose on your hospitality a bit? We have a few questions." "I would love to, but alas, I have services to attend at the moment, but you have questions, Sarff is the place to come. We have books on many things, and if you seek out Brother Mark, he can help you with many other questions. Good day to you." Alright, so the shop we've come to is Starduck Annex. Owen oogled as he picked through the assortment of magical items which had been laid out in the improvised store. Many of them were marked by tags which indicated they had been sent from the Academy of Magic, run by Pug of Starduck. Yeah, that would be Pug, the greatest magician in the world. And there's quite a bit here, and this is why we have been holding on to all these scrolls this whole time. 110 gold for that. 136 gold for the spell we paid 30 gold for. 136 for another one, and if you think I'm going to be bringing any more extra scrolls we find back here, you'd be right. Because the prices we get here are just fantastic. So yeah, grabbed about 600 gold just carrying a few scrolls around, and I'll bet they'll take the book as well. Okay, they will not take the book as well. Shockingly. Speaking of scrolls, they do have Lightning Staff, which we already have. So let's see if they only have spells. Dragon's Breath, already got it. Despair Thy Eyes, already got it. Flame Cast, got it. Skyfire, got it. Eyes of Ishap, got it. Night Fingers, got it. Nacra Citrix, got it. That's the Detect Magic Emblem. Skin of the Dragon, got it. Thoughts Like Clouds, oh, we definitely have that one. Dragon's Breath. Danion's Delusions, and now it's going into the ones that we have already sold off, and yeah. Oh. I think we have time for one more ambush, or one more quick combat. And we might be able to make it to the Temple of Sung, which is close by. And here come attackers. Only 2 Queegian pirates, though. Almost anticlimactic at this point, isn't it? Let's see. Poison rations. Safe rations. And poison rations. Barn just off the road. That seems suspect. Well, we'll go ahead and stop here and save the game here, but we're not going to go into that barn just yet. Just for the sake of story continuity. I have in mind to go and visit the Temple of Sung first, and you will see why next time.